Welcome back, everyone, to a very, very special episode of the Audio Shop Podcast. This is the 5-year anniversary of the start of all of this.
5 years ago, Audio Shop was but a twinkle in our eye.
Yes, and now we've got a very special setup for you here today, as you can see. So we got to get to it. We got a little. We're on physical media, so this means we got to be quick. So let's get straight into it. We're redoing the Now Now by the Gorillaz. It was our first album, and now we're going to do it again. So like a little bit of history here for us, Coop.
Yeah, the Gorillaz is an English virtual rock band formed back in 1998 by Damon Albarn and Jamie Hewlett in London. Of course, they consist of 4 members primarily, 2D on vocals, Rodak on bass, Noodle on guitar, and Russell on drums. Of course, these are fictional characters in a fictional band, but they kind of represent each of the instruments within the band. They've sold many records, 33 million worldwide, with the Now Now being their 6th studio album, released all the way back in June of 2018.
And obviously they've released another album since then that we know of when at the time of recording. There might be another one between now and when this actually comes out, but as far as we know, there's only one after this.
So it spawned multiple singles. It debuted at number 4 on Billboard 200, and it was the first album that we reviewed here, right here, on the Audio Shop Podcast.
Yes, all those many years ago when we were but young men. So, very brief, going back over what we talked about in the first episode, we were very much not good at this whole timing thing. Lots of speaking over each other and awkward pauses. Cooper actually used to do the intro as well, which was odd. And we tried to make Your Music Fix a thing, which never really happened.
Very clever, though. Get an Audio Shop,
yeah.
Your shop, the fix, it's multiple meanings. We should have kept that.
We still got it around, but we don't say it. We also didn't have the overlay yet, which obviously you aren't seeing now. You're seeing this. But that makes it quite a bit easier to determine what song we're talking about. And I'll get to what we ranked it later. Let's get on to the first track then, Cooper.
Track number 1, Humility.
So I love the strong bass of this song. It starts very subdued, the whole song starts very subdued and then kind of takes off as it progresses.
Oh yeah, it's a very, it's the lead single of the album, and it's a great intro song, where it kind of sets up the whole vibe of the album, which is this sort of relaxed, summery, plopping synth vibe. And
I will say, it took me forever to learn what these lyrics were, just because of the filter that they end up using all the time. I got them wrong for a very long time.
And to be fair, the Gorillaz enunciation of words is usually under a lot of filtering and layering, and Damon Albarn's kind of vocal performance is typically pretty low-key anyways, so not very made to project vocals.
Not at all. I will say, one thing I noticed this time, which I didn't before, is so Jack Black is just in the music video, because he's not listed as a feature. I assume he was just there in the video, not actually on the original song.
Oh yeah, Jack Black is not in this,
okay.
In this music. Don Cheadle's also in the music video, and he's definitely not in this song.
Really?
So.
I don't remember that. I only remember Jack Black being in it. But yeah, I love the layered vocals in this that kind of fade to the end of it, and it's just such a good opening track.
Yeah, it's got this lighthearted, breezy vibe, but it keeps it danceable, as well as having a sort of almost woozy outro.
Yeah, and it meshes quite well into track 2.
Yes, track number 2, Trans, with a Z.
And the lead into this one, with the big hit, is such a different tone than the rest of the song. But the bass line that they use throughout somehow just works. Because there's the first 45 seconds or so before there's the big kind of opening up of the song. But the main melodic bass stays the same throughout, and it doesn't feel odd at any point.
Yeah, it has this eminently danceable beat, and of course Albarn's breathy vocalizations. So somehow it's like this mix of kind of, dancing club music, but also synth actually popping off in the background.
Yeah. I will say the big hit at 125, that's a repeat of the hit from earlier, doesn't hit quite as hard, just because they've already done it, but it's still very good.
Yeah, no, the whole song has a very fun synth progression. The drum machine obviously is going off in the background, and it kind of has this ebb and flow where the verses are a little more low-key, a little more mellow, and obviously the chorus hits and it becomes that dance beat again.
Yes. And we can jump to track 3. I realize I should probably say what we ranked these before, since this is a non-standard. So Cooper, originally Humility was your second favorite song. Neither of us ranked Trans, but now we're moving on to track number 3, which is Hollywood, which we both ranked the worst song on the album.
Well, yes, Hollywood starts with a very stereotypical, I guess, club beat. There's also maybe not stereotypical club beat, but certainly kind of that, almost European club style beat.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
It's also got I think it's the only song of this album that has a feature on it.
Well, the others have features, but not vocal features.
Yeah, I should say vocal features.
Yeah.
Yes.
This has 2, actually. It's got Jamie Principle, whose lyrics are poorly written and not very well sung, and Snoop Dogg, who performs quite well, I would say.
Yes, and Snoop Dogg's actually has performed with the Gorillaz before.
Mm-hmm.
He was on their opener for Plastic Beach, actually.
Yes, he was on Plastic Beach quite a bit.
Yes, I think they just like working together.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, Jamie's lyrics are not very good. I mean, the backing track does him no favors here. It's very bare bones. There's some whopping bass and some drum pad, which is not a very good bass for a whole song.
Yeah, it's interesting where it's a very sparse instrumentation throughout. Where, like you said, what was it, Jamie? Where he's kind of, it's almost like stream of consciousness at times whenever he's rapping over it. A little less, kind of thought out as Snoop Dogg's. And since the instrumentation is so sparse, right? It's just mostly that club beat with some like kind of synthy flourishes over it.
Yeah.
It really doesn't fill the space too well.
He's also
it makes it feel rather empty.
He's a lot less melodic in delivery than Snoop Dogg.
Right. There's not that kind of rhythm to it.
I will say Snoop Dogg does get some helping. They bring in a bit of a cyber-sounding synth to his section, which does quite a bit of lifting, but it's overall still a very sparse song.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the intention of the song was. Where, Trans is obviously has that kind of danceable beat with it, and Humility has the more fun, summery vibes. This one kind of falls in this awkward middle zone of it being, having kind of an up-tempo beat, but also kind of being this hypnotic, woozy, low-key vibe.
Yeah, a kind of poor club song, I would say.
Yes.
But jumping to a much better track number 4.
Yes, track number 4, Kansas.
Which is one of the best bass lines on the album, I will say. It is so strong, and they just kind of let it stand alone at the start. And it is the main melody of the song.
Well, it's this kind of almost farty synth bass. Very low, very kind of bubbly. And I know how much of a sucker you are for that, Sam.
I know, yeah. They read me like a book on this one. And you got that heavy filtering on the vocals again, which just make it sound right. That's kind of the hallmark of the Gorillaz sound, at least these days.
I don't know. Even listening back, I think Damon Albarn's always had a thing for vocal filtering.
And, for good reason. It has worked this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, his kind of delivery it works well with the filtering. And yeah, this one's a little more mellow. A little more relaxed, a little melancholic even. But that synth bass kind of helps propel things along.
Yeah, and the vocals, I will say, are a little bit repetitive on this one, but the delivery is very raw emotionally, so it doesn't bug me all that much. But jumping to track 5, if you're ready.
Oh, we aren't going to talk about the little synth breakdown there?
Oh, I mean, if you must talk about the synth breakdown.
I must. I don't know, I just like how it kind of pairs well with the, obviously the sparkling synth that's kind of floating over the more forlorn vocals, as well as having that farty synth breakdown come right out of it. It kind of is a nice way of just like, pulling back the energy and then just immediately ejecting it back in.
Yeah.
I appreciated the structure of the song there. because it doesn't really miss a beat, even when it just kind of instantly goes back into it.
No, this is a very tight album.
Yeah, so now we can go to track number 5,
Which-
Sorcerers,
which has
with
another-
a Z.
Another Z and another banger of a main melody. It's the slightly back and deep talking line. I don't know how to describe it. It's back in the mix. It's very deep, kind of a gravelly voice. Does a lot to kind of give you the vibe of this song.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with this bit of an off-kilter drum loop before the synth groove busts in. Then it gets kind of funky.
Yeah, and I will say this one as well. The delivery is so emotional compared to other Gorillaz songs. They just, I don't know what it is. He's really kind of giving it his all here. And I don't know if that has to do with the story that they were developing at the time, or just he had been saving this up.
Yeah, Albarn has I'm sure you've noticed, Sam, but he always has this sort of detached delivery on a lot of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Where obviously he's performing well, but like emotionally there's like a very intentional wall. You know, it helps with the filtering, of course, and that kind of plays into it. But even through Demon Days or Plastic Beach, there's this almost kind of like a ethereal element to his singing.
Yeah.
So having a little more, like you said, emotionality injected into it kind of helps to set the song apart a little bit.
Yeah, it goes a long way. And I also like how near the end of this, they really let those instrumentals breathe a little bit, with how much, not saying the vocals aren't good, but how much heavy lifting they do on this whole album, let alone this track. It's nice to just kind of hear them alone for a little bit.
Yeah, again, especially with this kind of, more emotional, breathier delivery,
Mm-hmm.
I think it works well with this, kind of relaxed instrumentation, but with a synth backing as well.
Yeah. Jumping to the next track then, Cooper, if you're ready. Track number 6.
Yes, track number 6, Idaho.
And you rank this as your other second favorite. You listed
Well,
3.
Wouldn't that be third favorite, or? I guess they tied.
You didn't really discern which was your third and second. You just said, I like this one the most, but I also really like these other 2. So I just called them
Fair enough.
favorite. But those quiet footsteps in the background at the start of this always really get me. When he has the line, it really works to suck you in and just kind of float you away.
Yeah, it's a simple song with a lot of hidden depth to it. It's the real low-key banger of the album. It has this kind of woozy background with some acoustic guitar strumming, and I really like Albarn's vocal delivery on this album.
Yes.
Especially on this song.
Yes, this one has one of the best vocal performances, I'd say, of the whole album.
Where it just again, it has that sort of detached element to it, but you can sense the forlornness in it, right? Like he's masking a little bit, but it's going through.
Yeah, it's a very quiet song as well. The instrumentation isn't very deep, but it's not sparse. It's really leaning on those vocals kind of to carry the whole thing.
Saying it feels open, destitute but free, like a certain Idaho.
Yeah. There's not a lot going on, but it's so dense. There's so much going on. When it hits those open up spots, though, there's power to it because everything else is so calm and collected.
Yeah, with that deep basic guitar and the twinkling synth over it, it really does make it feel like it's kind of light through the clouds moment.
Yeah, and we can't skip over. There's a little bit of animal call in the background in the middle there as well. I always like when they use real sounds. It's even in time with the music.
All music is real sounds, Sam.
Okay, you know what I mean. Like real world sounds, like birds cawing, ocean waves, whatever, that kind of thing.
Maybe we should start putting real sound effects in our reviews of music.
We could always just have a ocean sound effect in the background.
I could set off my fire alarm.
yeah, that'll do it. That'd be good. Well, jumping to track 7 then, if you're ready.
Yes, track number 7, Lake Zurich.
And this was what I rated my second favorite.
Okay. It's the completely instrumental track, or mostly instrumental.
Mostly instrumental. Aside from 2 little bits, the first of which is something at the beginning here, which I always thought it said last track 5.5, and it says last chance to buy before you fly. I don't feel like there's enough syllables in what is being said on the actual song to fit all of those words in, I'll be honest.
Well, it's like a really far back in the mix filter, and obviously like more not for the words, but for like the sound of someone talking far off.
Yeah.
Almost more of a noise than lyrics.
Yeah, but I don't know. I always hear last track 5.5. That's what I hear, but that's very much incorrect. But I'm still going to keep saying that. Again, you said it's an instrumental song. You're not bumping to this at the club, but it is a bit of a dance song.
Yeah, I would say I bump into it a little bit. I mean, it's got this dreamy background, but it's also got this driving bass and percussion that just kind of gives it that danceability.
Yeah, it's just it. I don't think I'd want a DJ to put this on, though. I'll be honest. It's not quite that dancey, especially once you get to that soft-spoken background band again. He's back. He's not singing; he's just kind of talking, but he adds to the ambiance.
You wanna throw this on at the club and get on the dance floor?
No, I don't think so. Especially not once the kid choir keyboard comes in.
Oh, come on, I like that part.
I do enjoy it.
It has this kind of high, vocalization. It makes it a little interesting. And also, it has police sirens, Sam. That's a sound effect.
Yeah, police sirens in music is a risky road to take, because then if you put it on for somebody who's never heard it in the car, they freak out. I've played a couple songs for my sister while she's driving me, and the police sirens come on, and she immediately freaks out and starts looking around. I'm like, it's in the song. Calm down. It's okay. So I'm a bit iffy on those, but anyway, we can jump to track 8 if you're ready.
Yes, track number 8, Magic City.
And this was ranked as my favorite track.
Okay.
This, again, the back half of this, there's B-sides as a foreign concept of this album. It is yet another banger of a main melody.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fully electronic song, but also, it kind of has this clarity to it that you might not necessarily get on a lot of these songs as well.
Yeah, and plus, you say that, but they really get their use out of the reverb in this as well.
I will say, clarity, yeah, but the vocals are echoey as heck.
Yeah, and the random sound effects that are going off in the background. They just put reverb on everything, but it's charm. It works. It's not annoying.
Yeah, no, this whole album seems to have a little bit of almost like a relaxed, but driving road trip vibe to it.
Yeah, that's
obviously not even to mention all the different locations that are referenced within the title tracks. But yeah, it's kind of like this, you keep moving forward, but at a relaxed pace.
Yeah. I will say for this one, you got the chorus around the 2:10 mark is probably my favorite part of the song. Everything kind of feels like it builds up to that descending note lick. The lyrics are really repetitive, but there's nice harmonies going on in there, and it's just pretty.
So it's quite a sparkling song.
Yeah.
Like you said, it does end pretty abruptly.
Yeah. That is my one complaint. I would like a little bit of blank space to pad between this and the next track, because there's not really any. But that's a very minor complaint.
Well, then we can go on then to track number 9, Fireflies.
Yes. And we get a nice little glimpse of Damon's lower range here at the start, which I like quite a lot.
Yeah, he's typically in the higher ranges, but I think it works well with this kind of, they have the farty synth come back.
Yes.
It kind of meanders along the back of the beat.
Yes, and we get the layering of the falsetto part underneath the chorus as well. So we got the both extremes on this one, the lower and the falsetto.
Oh yeah, and it also has this more downtrodden delivery, I would say. Though it picks up a bit on the chorus.
Yeah. And I like the beat, but this one, I will say, feels a little bit long in the tooth by the end of it. There's not a whole lot going on here lyrically. It's kind of got the two things, and then it mushes them together to keep it interesting, but it almost overstays its welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly floats a little too much, right? It doesn't really feel like it's building to anywhere.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really. So I guess that's true. But it's a pretty enough song.
Yeah, still a good song. And we can jump to track 10 now.
It's track 10, 1%.
Which is your second worst song.
Ah, okay.
Of the first time around. Which I think I can kind of see. We've got that slow marching sound to act as the background for the song, which is an interesting choice. But it's a shorter track, so I think it works.
Yeah, I think it's the shortest track on the album, which kind of makes sense. It doesn't really do too much with the ideas. It kind of has this spacey, echoey vocals at the beginning. I do like when the bass comes in on this, as it kind of plucks along.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this one instrumentally, but the lyrics are beautiful. I love them in this one. And it has that slow spin down that I really like.
Slow spin down?
Yeah, like everything kind of drops off and the instruments kind of fade away. You ever watch that old Marble Machine music video?
I think you showed me that old Marble Machine music video.
I've probably shown it to you several times because I like it quite a lot. But yeah, he just kind of steps away from the instrument and everything just kind of spins down and you hear everything grinding to a stop. That's a really nice way to end a song, I think.
Then let's have a nice way to end an album.
Yes.
With the final track, track 11, Soak Eyes.
It's Sook.
Sook Eyes.
This was your favorite from last time, and every single time you said it in the original review, you pronounced it Soak Eyes.
Is it not Soak Eyes?
It's Sook.
Sook Eyes. Sook Eyes. Okay, I got it.
Imagine it's SOOK. At least that's
Okay.
what the internet told me. So,
okay.
if I'm wrong,
well, the internet
blame
never
them.
lies, so
Yeah.
blame the internet.
Yes. This one has some random element notes to it. It comes out more around the 110-ish mark with the dissonance descending, but there's just it's kind of plinking away in the background. It's not completely random, but it feels pretty random.
Yeah, it's like a little glitchy, but I like it with the guitar picking, the humming in the background. Ooh, Albarn singing. Ooh.
Yes. Yeah, it's a good album ender, that's for sure. The beat around the 250-ish mark, though, feels a little at odds with the rest of the song, but I love the vibe. Somehow it manages to make it flow all the way through.
I really like it. The energy picks up so well, especially when it hits that chorus the first time. Mm-hmm. Whew. And this is such a strong ender for an album.
Yes. My only complaint is I would prefer a bit more of a definitive ending than just the fade. I feel like it needs something to cap the album. But I mean, I guess a fade fits with the kind of vibe they've been going the whole time. But I don't know. I just need something else. I don't know what, but just something.
I think it's a mellow ender for a pretty mellow album.
Yeah.
Especially with a little bit of, it's like Glockenspiel. Come on.
Yeah. We do love our Glockenspiel.
We do like our Glockenspiel.
But that's the last track, Cooper. So now we gotta see if our favorites and least favorites line up. Let's do least favorites first because I imagine it's going to be exactly the same.
Yes. I didn't look back on our previous notes. I tried to go into this with as little memory of the first review as possible. But I'm not surprised to find that Hollywood is still my least favorite song.
I am not either.
But it just really doesn't do it for me. I mean, Gorillaz isn't unfamiliar with very sparse beats. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't work on this one, where it's sort of club, sort of lazy. It's got an okay feature from Snoop Dogg and a not as good feature from Jamie.
Where are the beautiful people at?
Where are they at, Sam?
I said, where are the beautiful people at? His delivery is not very good, and the lyrics are just not good. At least they give rhyming to Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, just not a very skippable song.
Yeah, the instrumental is it does no lifting at all either. It's just overall not a good song. I agree. So Hollywood still stamped the worst from both of us. But what about your favorite Cooper? Has that changed at all in the 5 years of which we've been somewhat reviewing music, but mostly just writing about it?
Honestly, no. Suit Guys is still my favorite. It's just that chorus hits so hard. I love the instrumentation. I love the singing. I like the way it ends out. It's a great ender for an album. Yeah, I can't say I like any of the other songs more than this one.
I mean, I agree. It's a good song. I can't say it's my favorite, but I will agree it is a very good song.
What's your favorite then?
Now that is a very good question. If we're going on what I go back and listen to, Magic City, of course. That's a good standalone single. In terms of the album, Idaho I probably like a little bit more. So it's hard for me to pick between those two because Idaho is such a good song, but I'm not just going to throw that on in the car, you know. Magic City, however, that's loud enough that you can hear it over the road. Idaho is one that you kind of have to be in a calm space to listen to. So those two are definitely in my top two. I think as lame as it is, since you already went with your same as last time, I think I'm going to have to go with my same as last time too, with Magic City.
So we've learned that our tastes have changed none at all.
I wouldn't say that. I don't think that's true. I think other than Hollywood, I appreciated all of the songs on this album a hell of a lot more than I used to.
Yeah, there's certainly it's one of the more subtle Gorillaz albums, but I think that also leads it to growing you a little bit more.
Yeah, it's definitely the slowest, and not that that's a bad thing, but I definitely am still partial to their more energetic stuff, which, you know, Idaho is not.
It's certainly not.
Yeah. Well, we gotta rank this, Cooper.
We do.
If you don't know, here at the Audio Shop Podcast, we have a ranking system based around cars. And I think I did it last time, so I think you should probably go for it this time, Coop. Sorry to put that pressure on you for the physical media that's going to stick around for probably longer than we will.
Well, of course, we have the car themed. I actually don't know who invented the car theme. When we first made this podcast, 5 years ago now.
Oh, we've got time left. We've got plenty of time. I still have the list of the original names if you want me to go over those.
Oh, yeah, go through them. This will be a little sneak peek into our original thought process back when we first formed it. We obviously went with Audio Shop because, Auto Shop, records kind of look like wheels. There's a lot of similarities that we were going for. We're also touching around a lot of different names if you have them, Sam.
Yeah. Because we've still probably got over 10 minutes left here. So here are the original names that we were coming up with. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Good Music.
That's a terrible one.
I kind of like that one, I'll be honest. From Here to Ear.
Okay.
Married to the Music.
All right.
6 Songs to Midnight. 2 Scoops for Your Ears. That's a little inside joke with our friend group there. Brain Ease. Not a fan of that one.
Sounds like a disease.
Yeah. Everyone is Talking. However, apparently there's another podcast called Everybody's Talking at Once, so that's basically the same name. I'm not sure why that one exploded. Ear Reflection. Ear Inflection.
Okay.
This is my podcast title.
That's a good title.
Album Chums. Again, not a very good one. This one I know is from Jonah. Fat Bottom Boys, spelled with a PH, rather.
Yeah, I think that would have given the wrong impression of exactly what we do here.
And then the bottom of the list is Audio Shop. So
we struck gold.
Yeah, clearly it was a case of we just got to keep coming up with names until something works.
And frankly, I think it's a good name.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's quite good. It's also not used very much by anyone else other than car people selling speakers. So we found a market there.
Brand recognition.
Exactly, and it's made us incredibly wealthy. I'm sure by the time this is released, everything's going to be gold plated and right.
Yeah, I mean, we've only made a couple $1 million in our first 5 years, but I see it growing exponentially as we continue to do this in the years to come.
Yeah. Well, obviously, all the $1 million were made within the last 4 months or so from when this is being played live.
And of course, we lost it all already, so we're penniless.
Right, yeah. But we got to rank it now, Coop.
Of course, of course. So, Sam, what would you rate this album?
Well, you didn't even explain the rating system yet, Cooper.
Oh, shoot. I'm so sidetracked.
I thought you were giving yourself time to come up with
we messed with the flow when you did the name thing. Okay.
Sorry.
No, at the tip top, the cream of the crop, you have your showroom. You know, this is the best of the best that you've got to listen to it, that got to have it review. And way at the bottom, you've got your bottom of the barrel scrapyard. You know, this is the ooh yuck, get it away from me. I cannot be bothered to listen to this again, even if you paid me. And then in between, you've got your like new, your fixer upper, your use rental, and we'll give it like a high or low depending on our feeling that day. So the rating system actually established now. What would you rate this, Sam?
I would say that this is probably a like new. I don't know if I'd rank this showroom. It's very, very nearly a showroom. But it's just not quite what I've come to love about Gorillaz. This is a very good album. It's out of left field for them, at the time at least. But yeah, I'd say a very high like new. Maybe a low showroom if I was feeling more generous, but I'm not. What about you? What are you thinking?
I think I'm in agreement, Sam. I say a high like new, where this album has some great highs, but it's also not my favorite Gorillaz album.
Yeah.
It's got a low-key energy that's persistent throughout that I really appreciate, and I've grown to appreciate more the more I've listened to it. But there's a couple songs that are maybe a little too low-key to be memorable, and then obviously Hollywood is kind of outright not good.
That's bad.
But yeah, it's a very strong album.
And it's funny you bring up not your favorite Gorillaz album, because in the original review we actually listed our favorite Gorillaz albums.
Oh my.
So, personally for me, I had ranked this second behind Plastic Beach. I ranked Plastic Beach as my favorite Gorillaz album, which I still do. Cooper, what would you, before I tell you what your ranking was, what are your top 4 favorite Gorillaz albums?
Ooh,
right now, off the top of your head.
Right at the top of my head, I'd probably have to say number 1, Demon Days. Number 2, Plastic Beach. I'd probably say Song Machine's my number 3 now. And then I'd probably put this as number 4.
Oh, right, Song Machine came out after this too. Okay, well, people are going to be very confused by the start of this then. So your ranking has changed then, because originally you said Demon Days was your favorite, then
That's
Plastic Beach, which is still the same. But this was your third favorite, so Song Machine has come out and surpassed this one for you.
I think it has. I have to say, I like Song Machine a lot.
It is good, and I forgot about it, which shows how much I listened to it. Not my favorite. But back in the original episode, we didn't have the ranking system yet. In fact, we didn't even have mostly anything, so we just gave it a ranking out of 10.
Classic.
Yeah, so I ranked it an 8.5 out of 10, which is fairly comparable, I'd say, to the like new. Maybe a little. I'd say that's maybe eking into the low showroom. And then you ranked it a 7.5 to 8 out of 10, leaning towards 8. So I'd say we ranked it nearly the same as we did originally. If anything, mine came down a slight bit.
Yeah, maybe mine went up a little bit to average out around an 8. Which I think is like, a high like new, low showroom, depending on where you make that break.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see that we're so consistent.
Yeah, that's actually, if anything, maybe a little bit concerning. You think our taste would have matured a little bit over 5 years, but...
Well, it's the same album, and I like to think that,
true.
Even if it's got a more subtle nuance to it, is that, even with more listens, you can kind of come back and reappreciate it.
Yeah, we didn't grow to hate it or anything, and we definitely picked up on a lot more than we did originally. Got a lot more out of it this time, I would say, than originally. We also didn't spend nearly as long on the history of the group as we did the first time. Which I thought was a lot longer, but we didn't actually spend that long. I think Matt was just ragging on us back then. Well, that's the show we've got. This has been the 5-year special. Very, very glitzy and glamour, but we're going to go back to the same old next week. I'm not going to tell you about all that, SEO stuff. We're just going to leave it here. You know where to find us. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See ya.